So again, welcome, August 9th, our gathering as a congregation. Pastor Tim's going to open us with a sung prayer. You're invited to follow the motions along with me.
Here we go. Lord, listen to your children praying. Lord, send your spirit in this space. Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Lord, listen to your children praying. Lord, send your spirit in this space. Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Lord, listen to your children praying. Lord, send your spirit in this space. Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us love, send us power, send us grace.
Amen. So we're going to encourage you to go to speaker view. We're going to invite David Webster, our council president, to unmute himself and bring some thoughts and conversation for us.
Great. Can everyone hear me okay?
I need a password here.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. This is great that we can at least get together on a Zoom call and see each other's faces. It's wonderful to see everyone. And hope you're all doing well and enjoying what bit of the summer you can, because the weather's been just fantastic. So we're really blessed with that. Just a couple of notes on church council. We've still been meeting executive once a month, church council once a month, really reviewing how online services are going, reviewing the budget, making sure that everything's on track, and hopefully gathering everyone's needs out there in the community. It's so hard when we're not able to see each other face to face. But I encourage you, if you have contact with members of the church, even members of your own neighborhood or community, to reach out. That contact, that voice over the phone is always so much helpful, especially in times like this. We've also wanted to mention that with the church and everything that's going on in the world with the Black Lives Matter movement and so forth, that we as a church have made a stand with the West Linn Alliance for the Inclusive Community. And we've done some work with the city council in helping to move that along and create awareness via that avenue, as well as creating once a month a platform with other church communities for prayer and reflection time. So we've been doing that, I guess, 3 times this so far, and it's been wonderful. So just kind of sharing how we can be open to other people's needs, have an understanding of what white privilege might mean to others and ourselves, and just kind of getting an understanding of the needs in the community. So that's really all I wanted to say. Again, really nice to see everybody here, and we'll kind of continue on with the agenda.
Great. And I believe Bill, our congregational treasurer, is going to share a little bit of updated financial information. And Bill, I made it so you should be able to share screen, correct?
All right, I'm working on it. You all able to see the screen? Everybody can see? Did you guys hear? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear and
we can see it and hear it.
See it.
Got it.
And now it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go. Sorry about that. I couldn't hear anybody, so I didn't know if it was not my system. All right. So just real quick, if at any time anybody has any questions, just let me know. This is the current state through July. The red line here represents what we had put in place exactly for our budget. The blue column represents what our total income is for the year so far to date. And then our yellow line here is what's our expenses for today, up to the date. What it shows is that based on the way things have been and the giving is a little behind where we were expecting it to be. We're approximately $32,000 net behind. We are behind on budget. I would say our low budget on expenses. So we've been doing a great job with that. But it kind of just brings out that I think in these tough times, coronavirus has hit us in many ways. And some of that has to do with like our building partners, not being able to get into the building. And so there's a bit of support maybe missing from there, things like that. So I wanted to make everybody aware of these things that are going to go on the way we are in this situation where with the finances. One of the things we did, and hopefully everybody is aware of what we did, we applied for a small business loan that they call a PPP loan. The loan itself was intended for small businesses who were going to be seeing some challenging times, during the coronavirus situation. And in fact, we were granted that loan. In the meantime, we've been using that loan to help defray expenses. That really basically is about, I would say, the intent, right? So the blessing of this loan is really, it's enabled us to keep up, where we need to be in terms of, the services and the outreach that we've been providing. So I kind of wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. It really says, for the lion's share of what we're doing, we're in decent shape. But I encourage you all to take a look and think around, where else, what other ways we might give. If there's any questions you have about that, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to answer them. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
Thank you, Bill, so much for your diligence on watching over this part of our life together. Maybe in the chat, could you put your email address? That would be one way if people have a question, they could email you directly. That would be helpful. Of course, he's also in the directory if you have one of those. Although you did change your email recently, so maybe put your new email in the chat.
I can do that.
Awesome. And then, great. So we're going to move ahead to Greg. It has something special. Greg Lord's got something to share with you about potlucks.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here and on this beautiful, beautiful day. It's great. I thought I'd just take a minute before we broke into our chat rooms and just talk a little bit about the amazing potluck that Lutherans are very good at. And if you got a church basement, you're in. I mean, that's the real key. But I want to take a look at this whole potluck thing from a biblical standpoint, and not so much West Linn Lutheran. One of the things I'd like to challenge you with this week is to take a look at the book of Luke and look at the different meals that Jesus participated in. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks ago, we heard the story about Mary and Martha in the meal that was being prepared there. If you go to Matthew, I think the 24th or 25th chapter, somewhere in there, maybe even earlier, Jesus feeding the multitude, the 5,000. But if you go through the book of Luke, and I was just going through it this weekend, it's amazing the amount of meals that are prepared in the New Testament that Jesus attended, from the Pharisee to Zacharias to all these different things that went on. So this potluck thing that we are involved in is something that's evolved from years and years. In fact, you know as well as I do, we learned at elementary school, the Pilgrims and the Native Americans celebrated the bounty together a potluck. One of the things that Pastor Donna is going to ask you to do is when we break into the chat rooms is to take a look at some of your vivid memories. I want you to just think about this one. In that fellowship hall, in the discipleship room below the fellowship hall, can you imagine having a full congregational potluck downstairs there in that little area? And it was some of the greatest times that we ever had sharing together as a family at Westland Lutheran Church. It was just awesome times. I want you to think about this before we're done here. If you and I ate an average of 3 meals a day for a year, we're almost at 1,100 meals. 1,100 meals. That's a lot. And so you can see how important being able to sit down and get together in this type of thing. And I think this is why this Zoom potluck is so vital, because it gives us pretty much an idea of relationships, engagement, and memories. An opportunity to share and tell stories, laugh a little bit, and still maintain the relationships that we need. So I challenge you a little bit this week to jump into the book of Luke and read about a couple meals that Jesus attends, and think about where we're going, and the idea of being able to be together. And if we can't do it face to face, this is just as good. And so thank you for taking time from your busy weekend and a busy day to be with us today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Greg, too. I appreciate that. Encouragement, encouraging one another. Remember, if some of you were on the worship last Sunday, Bishop Lori encouraged us to think about encouragement as a practice in our lives and in our relationships. So it's fabulous. Now, it's almost the middle of August. We're still summertime and enjoying summer things, but of course the church, we start looking ahead a little bit as well to the fall. We're knowing that the guidelines for gatherings are changing as the governor reviews all the science and the information on COVID and what's safe for everybody. But we're very much anticipating that our Sunday morning main worship is going to continue the way it is online through the fall, and as the safest way and the most inclusive way for everybody to be able to participate. But we know that we have a beautiful and generous building and yard at the church. And so Pastor Tim and I are a little curious, and our other groups that are starting to plan things for the fall, curious to get a little feedback, even from this size group, on what we might be needing and might be wanting, as well as what might we be feeling ready for. And so before I send you into chat groups or into breakout groups, we have just a short poll. Now, I haven't done a lot of polling on Zoom, so I think I've got this set up properly. I'm going to launch it. It has 3 questions. The first one refers to worship opportunities. This is outside of Sunday morning. You can think of other ways we spend time in worship or prayer together. And then anyway, you'll see that there's some choices there, and we just want to kind of get a feel for what people are thinking. So I'm going to launch this and see what happens. So be prepared to interact. Okay, there you go. So there are 3 questions there. As you scroll through that, you could give an I or a we answer to that, and then we'll see. I'll be able to end. When I end it, we'll all see it. And it's going quickly. Let me see if I can give you more time. I don't know if I can give you more time. Answer quickly. Answer. Give it more time, but I didn't see that.
It's going up, the time.
Okay. You're doing good. You're doing good. I'll be able to show you in a minute. We've got, most of you have voted. That's great.
How do you submit? We tried that and we're not getting it.
Scroll down to the bottom and the submit button is down there.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Questions. So
Sorry, yeah, scroll down. There's 3 questions.
There's a third question.
Got it. Thank you.
And you can
Good,
submit.
but good question though. You're good.
We only have 2 questions and a grayed out submit button.
You have to scroll up or scroll down. There's one more question. I know I didn't see it either.
Slide your cursor over.
It doesn't scroll.
My 10-year-old had to show me how to do it.
Well, try just with your do you have your cursor? Can it go over and reveal that there's a gray bar there?
Yeah, you just grab the gray bar and drag it down.
Grab it with your cursor and slide it down.
Right over on my right side.
the elevator. Elevator
Elevator, yeah.
bar.
I don't know where it's at. Lost
You just very slowly pull your cursor over the end of the box, and it should reveal a
one there.
gray bar.
Box.
Sorry, I can't scroll and I can't.
Huh. That's weird.
Do you have a cursor?
We have a cursor. We have no bar.
That's
It
weird.
should be on the very
Well,
edge
if
of the
it's not
box,
there,
but
it's
that's
not
fine.
there.
If it's not there, it's not there.
It's not there.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to give me your ansers? You don't want to say them out loud.
Email
That's
them
okay.
to us.
It'll
Email
be
them to
just a
Okay, well,
We don't care.
I'm not getting names on this anyway, so let's just see. I'm going to end it because it looks like everybody except 3 have voted, and we know Darlene may not be able to do it, and they're having trouble. So if one other person missed it, I'm sorry.
That'll be you.
Oh, that's me, so never mind. Okay, here we go. End polling. So I think you'll get to see it. Share results. Here we go. So outside of Sunday morning, we are ready for some in-person worship opportunities at the church that are conducted in a COVID-safe way. Okay, so we've got some maybes, mostly maybes on that, but some
Definite no's.
definite no's, which is totally fine, 30%. Second one, I would like to see us use the churchyard for COVID-safe fellowship gatherings. Got a strong interest in spending some time there. That's great. And then interested in being part of a small group of church people that would support one another in an ongoing basis this fall. We've got yeses, no-nos, and some maybes. So maybes are probably waiting to hear a little bit more about what that would look like and how they would function. And Greg might speak to them a little bit later on courageous stewardship. So great, thank you guys. I'm gonna stop that.
Can you?
Did you take a picture of that? I'll see if
No.
I can save it. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to have you go into breakout rooms. The things that we would like you to think about. Could you read that for them, Pastor Tim? And I'll get the rooms ready.
So there's like 3 things that we want you to talk about in your breakout room, and that time is going to be about 15 minutes, and it's an arbitrary room, so you'll just go in. Sharing your online dessert. Unfortunately, I just ate mine completely up, so I can't even tell people what I had, or at least show them what I had. Share your favorite memory of a church potluck as you tell the participants in your room who you are. So that's part of the first piece. As you're telling people who you are, favorite memory of a church potluck and your online dessert. Then this is the key question that we want you to spend some time on. This fall, we will be continuing online worship and online education, and any kind of gathering that we do is online. What would you like to see happen or offered? And what would you participate in? And what do you need? So what do you want to see offered? What do you want to see? What do you want to participate in? And what are your needs? Those are important questions. As we gather, for instance, a faith enrichment team together and we begin to plan our Sunday morning education process for the fall. If you would be willing to have someone in your breakout group then take some notes and then be willing to share those notes when you come back into the main room. You don't all, I mean, we're not that big of a group. I mean, we're only about 20 or so people. But it'd be nice to just be able to share some of the thoughts. And we are taping this so other people can view this later on and add their thoughts as well. Okay?
I'm having a little problem here. Just a second.
Oh, you have to sign. Well, okay, here you go. We're just assigning you guys right now, and it'll be a second. And then you'll see a little box that says join your room. Oh.
Just a second. Sorry.
Exchange. See it?
Maybe Greg should talk a little bit.
Talk a little bit, Greg.
One more minute.
Somebody talk a little bit. Somebody tell us a story. Somebody tell a joke. Gary, I'm sure Gary's got a joke to tell everybody. Come on, Gary. Give us a few minutes while you tell a joke.
I need more time than that.
Okay.
I will say that I'm happy that you said this was being recorded, because I kept seeing the record button and I was worried that I was doing something on my end.
Well, you could record it if you. I guess you can record it, but I mean.
No, but you are.
I am definitely recording. Yes, correct.
I believe Gabe probably has a joke.
Gabe, can you tell us a joke?
Please.
Where did Gabe go?
Gabe just got a joke book. They're all terrible, but we can all have some terrible jokes. Are you getting it? Oh, no. Just come and tell some of the ones you remember. You remember any of them? They just want a joke. Tell a joke.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Everybody ready? Here we go. Let me make sure yeah. So it should just be Darlene and you and I, unless I miss somebody. Hopefully there are two Lenahans in the room together.
Are you getting an invitation, Tom and June? Press the invitation. You'll go to your room. Same thing with Kevin.
Yeah, we got our invitation. We're in a room with you and Kevin, apparently. And no, it shouldn't be.
You should be in a breakout room.
Oh, well, in that case, I didn't get it.
I haven't gotten
Oh, no.
any.
Sorry, you are. Hang on one second. Hang on. There we go. Okay. All right.
What the heck was that about?
I don't know. Like, it didn't give me the option for random. I didn't understand that. Okay, I'm gonna take a picture of this. It kind of was weird, I thought.
Well, it was a little bit better technologically.
Yeah, we're doing better.
I'm gonna turn the coffee off.
Oops.
You want to look up Safeway?
No,
Fred Meyer?
I don't want to do anything. I want to make sure this works. Broadcast a message to
I'm gonna
him.
look up Fred Meyer while you do it. Where's Darlene? She's by herself.
She should be with us, which is why I can't figure out why.
I think she went off.
Oh, that could be. Oh.
Let's see if I can get onto the Fred Meyer app. Fred Meyer app. Here we go. Okay, but you need to do this. You need to. What do you know? What your sign in is?
No.
You don't remember what your email was that you set up with them? Is that pastor.donna? What do you think your password would be? Can you tell me what your password is for the pastor.donna, the Gmail account?
Oh, shoot.
Donna,
I'm sorry, what?
can you tell me your password of your Gmail account, pastor.donna?
Capital K. I go through the app, Tim.
Do it.
You want the app on my phone? Here.
Well, that would be
Here.
better.
Just go through the app on
Yeah,
my
that
phone.
would be better. Then I can just get out of all this BS.
That'd be a lot easier.
Because that way we're going to be able to.
So what we do it is through stuff, delivery and pickup. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Deliver?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I already have this. Why do you need
You're at
that?
Safeway, Donna. Don't go Safeway. It's Fred Meyer.
Oh, Fred Meyer. Oh, I haven't done delivery or pickup there.
It's okay. Just let me get it.
You figure it out.
Yeah. Somebody talking about something?
Why don't I see the countdown? I can't see the countdown. I wish I. Shoot. That's fine.
Greetings.
Good
Welcome
to
back.
have you back.
Did everybody have a good time in your chat room with everybody?
Donna?
So there should be 4 people with a few thoughts to share. You don't have to share everything, but if you could share maybe a few thoughts, and then you could give us maybe an email with more thoughts or things if you want to put them in the chat box. That's good too.
Donna, could you explain to people what the peer grant was and how we used it? Because there might be some people that are still willing to match for it.
Sure, yeah. The Synod very generously wanted to stimulate community connections, and particularly to help meet needs of families that might be having food issues or food insecurity at this time. So they made available $500 grants to congregations and encouraged us to partner with local congregations and communities. We did, for a time, try to work with the Emmanuel Presbyterian, and their judicatory had given them $1,000. The pastor was in right at the end of her term. She was leaving the congregation for another calling, and so they were a little hurried, and we didn't quite develop the community outreach we wanted to. But between our 2 congregations, we've been able to give, let's see, it would be
2,000.
About $2,000 worth of gift cards for food that went through Bolton Elementary and Cedar Oak Elementary to families that the counselors knew were in particular need. So I think we were able to help at this point 18 families, and the counselors are open to more assistance. Yeah. So as Kathy said, if there's people that want to add to that match, we had the $500 from the Synod matched by a donor at $500, and then an additional $300, and then I think another $25 donation on top of that. So anything that comes in marked PEER, PEER, or local food well, let's say school hunger. Let's put it specifically to school hunger. We will get those to school counselors who can get them to needy families. So a breakout room, if you were a breakout room reporter, could you unmute yourself and share a couple of thoughts from your group?
I'd be happy to go first. I took notes for our group, and so we did discuss the potluck stuff, but just to get down to the meat and potatoes of it, so to speak. A lot of great comments on positive comments on how worship is going, and I mean, worship has been fantastic and really well received, as well as the music offerings has been just fantastic. So we kind of talked a little bit about that. We had Bethany in my group as well, so we thought maybe is there other opportunities for us to expand even more, obviously, and have including more of the worship team. So I can bring that up to Adam a little bit. We also talked about access to online classes. So, for example, the Bible study for Romans that we've been doing, we have a small group, but not everyone is aware of it. So, is there a way that we could share all the different Zoom meetings offerings that we have online in a more user-friendly manner? So, one suggestion would be just a here's what's happening button, and a calendar pops up with, okay, Tuesday evenings, we are offering this worship. Here's the Zoom link. On Saturday mornings, we're offering this Bible study. Here's the Zoom link. And maybe that's just updated regularly. I'm not sure if that's something that Jack would be able to kind of combine with the website. But that way we might get more people involved and interested into some of the offerings. Also, just general Zoom check-in groups. Maybe there's a young families group that wants to kind of meet once a month, once every other week on Zoom, just to check in with each other, and so forth. And also to have a Zoom tutorial for those who may need some help getting onto Zoom and so forth. So maybe we could have something like that on our website that we could easily share with folks. That was the main the main comments that we had.
Great. And so groups, if you have similar ideas, maybe add on to this now with like anything that would tweak those or add new ideas. Did I see Carol was one?
Yeah, I think I was in breakout group 4, and those are great ideas, David. We went a little bit different way. Many of us have had good reactions with past book clubs or book presentations. And in looking to how what we're going to be living through this fall, we were looking for things that could be stress reduction as well as maybe active listening. So a book club that maybe the members pick a different book each week, but they can be a mix of fun relaxation books, maybe something more serious. It was also pointed out, and this does tie in with what David was saying, people have very different work schedules. And so having access to different things at different times of the week will help us reach more people. And I liked his idea of having the Zoom links on the calendar there. But tools for stress reduction, tools for active listening, and just fun book sharing groups were kind of the direction we were going.
Great. So there should be 2 more groups.
From group 3.
Uh-huh.
From group 3, one of the things we talked about was for church service, if we could put a backdrop on your rather than seeing your room, we saw the church, we saw the altar of the church, and that would be putting the church in the background of our online worship. The other thing was participating in the front yard things that we were talking about. And so one of the things we thought about needs is we need to find out what other people want to do in the front yard area. So is that everything, guys?
And is there a 4th
Bob
one?
Jones is talking.
Okay.
Hold on. Just unmute yourself, Bob.
Yeah, I'm on my.
You're good.
I mentioned that we like the online services, and hopefully those will be continued once the sanctuary is open again for people who are shut in or high risk. And so you guys are doing a wonderful job with that, and
Thank you.
would love to see it continue even after we're open.
Yeah, and we do have a team that's coming out of council, just to follow up on that comment, Bob. We do have a team arising out of council that will be working on what will live streaming and or online worship look like. 1, as we move back into the building, and then 2, when we're fully back in. So there's not going to be it will not end. It may be different than it is now, but it will not end.
So was there any other?
Bethany.
Oh, Bethany. Mm-hmm.
I just had a quick thought. I didn't mention this in my group, but that reminded me of something that I had thought of. I don't know if it's possible, but if somehow we could create like a sign-up sheet or something for like a person to come just pray in the sanctuary. I mean, like, I can't even tell you that I don't have any quiet time anymore. And like just having the opportunity to come and just spend 15 minutes, like if we just gave a 15-minute increment, people could sign up online just to come in and just use the sanctuary for prayer, like by themselves. I mean, nobody else has to be present,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
I don't know. It would just be like amazing to have an opportunity to come use that space just for some quiet time.
Know this, that you just text us and we'll make sure you can come in anytime you want.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there in the middle of the night. I'm just going to tell you that. But seriously, just let us know. In the meantime, we'll work on some process that gives people an opportunity. That is something we've thought about.
Yeah, and Greg Lord's going to mention, I think, a couple of things around that. We are very blessed also with outdoor sanctuary space. Carol White is has refinished and repainted the benches along the labyrinth, and that is going to be a very comfortable sacred space to sit along, even if you can't get in the sanctuary. But I think it's so cool that we have a door to the sanctuary from the outside. So I think what you're talking about, Bethany, we could definitely have open times and, one or two people in the sanctuary by themselves, just maybe a little quiet music playing or just the silence, a candle lit on the altar. I mean, that's the kind of like ideas for like use of the space for worship, not normal Sunday morning worship, but quiet, small group activity is very possible.
Even if we just knew that like Wednesdays from this time to this time, you could sign up for a block or something.
Yeah.
Okay, who else
So
will
was there
share?
a fourth group or did we get all the groups represented?
Yep. Lords, go ahead.
I guess I can report. Mostly, we brought up the luau's of years ago, and I don't know how many of us are here now that remember those, but yeah, Carol's one. Two things that came out of our group was that small group, having the opportunity for a small group to meet either online or social distancing at some point, that it would foster communication certainly, and validation, maybe stronger Christian connections with people. And the other one, again, is that it wasn't so much what we needed as far as education, as much as we need human contact or connections somehow that we meet with one another to stay in touch anyway, because we can't do that. So those were our two main things.
We have a congregation that is thirsty for relationships. They are thirsty for contact. And as we go through this pandemic, we need to start really channeling that direction. So someday when this does break, we're ready to move forward.
Working somehow good now.
Why don't you go ahead, Greg, with your portion?
Yeah. Okay. I'd just like to take a couple moments and let you know, you guys, that there is a courageous stewardship, leadership, I don't want to say team, because you as a congregation are the team by who you are and what you're doing right now and every day. But there is a courageous stewardship leadership group that has been meeting for about 4 to 5 months, both online with the bishop and online throughout the country, getting some ideas. In fact, last Thursday, myself, the Hortons, and Pastor Donna, and I don't know if there was somebody else, did a virtual visit to Los Angeles to Homeboy with Father Gregory, and listen to some things that are going on there with the relationships and building trust and that type of thing. Very fascinating. And we've learned so much about what this stewardship, this servanthood really means and where we're at. I want to thank Pastor Tim for today's sermon, because that's who we are. That is courageous stewardship. That is thinking outside the box, taking a bold step forward. And so part of your summer reading, I'd like to challenge you to get this book. And it's called, If You Want to Walk on Water, You Got to Step Out of the Boat. And my concern is not so much about Peter. And by the way, Peter is one of the only humans that ever has walked on water. It's the other 11. What were they doing? Where they saw Peter step outside that boat. And I'm going to challenge all of us. Are we part of that 11 that huddled in the back and were not willing to step out? Or are we like Peter? We did step out and say, hey, Lord, you can count on me. Here I am. Wait a minute. Hey, a little tough out here. Hey, save me, man. And as Pastor Tim today said, as he stuck his hands out towards us, I'm here. You have little faith. And he helped Peter get back into the boat. And what happened when he got back into the boat? The tempest went away. Everything became calm because they became focused again on what they were doing. Yeah. So I challenge each and every one of us in our courageous stewardship of stepping out of the boat. And you'll hear me talk over and over again with our team about 3D stewardship at West Linn Lutheran. The first D is discipleship. That's the sharing and the caring of one another. Number 2 is being daring, thinking outside the boat. And number 3, having some depth in what we're doing, really digging deep into where we're going with stewardship. Stewardship, if you look at the word, is not filling out a pledge card for time, talent, and treasures. No. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Stewardship comes from the word servant, giving of others. You know, what a great story in the New Testament. Here they are going to their Last Supper with Jesus. And you know what the conversation is going down the street as they're heading towards that upper room? Who's going to sit where at the table? Mm-hmm. Who's going to be next to Jesus? Who's going to be in the front? And as they go up the stairs to the upper room, they pass the bowl where they wash their feet. They just go right up into the table. Well, guess what? Who picks up the bowl and goes upstairs? Jesus, the servant. And he washes every one of the disciples' feet. And he comes to Peter, and Peter goes, hey, whoa, hey, man, what are you doing? You're not going to wash my feet. You're Jesus. And Jesus says, Peter, someday you'll understand. Someday you'll understand. And that's how I want our courageous stewardship to look like at West Linn Lutheran, that we will wash each other's feet and we'll wash the feet of the community through our bold intentions on what we are doing as Christians. The other thing, and I'm going to close with this, I don't want to sound too preachy. I miss. Too late. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I miss my play. I miss you guys. I miss the fact that I can't grab onto you and shake your hand and all that. But you know what I miss also? I miss my players. I really do. And it's been over a year since I've been able to be with my players from the third base dugout, because I think there's some great lessons that we can all learn about life and ourselves and our Christian values from sitting in the third base dugout. And I shared this with Pastor Donna a while back, and I wrote this down, and I went and pulled it out after I listened to Tim's sermon today. And compare yourself right now, and I just want you to think about it before we go, with God. Compare yourself and your relationship with God to a ball game. Okay, ready? Let's think about this. Where would you be in this ball game with God? Would you be sitting in the grandstands? Hey, looks good. Oh, yeah, good. You guys did a great job. Yeah. Or are you on the team, but you're only bench warming? Or are you on the injury list? I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. Or are you still sitting in the locker room waiting to come out, waiting to be called upon? Or are you trying to really figure out the game? What's this all about? Or the last one, hey, coach, put me in. I'm ready to go. Well, I would like to think that maybe here at West Linn Lutheran, that we all want to be at that point where, hey, put me in. I'm ready to step up in some small way. And so one of the ways I saw today in our little chat, or in our small breakouts, was Marianne Schaefer. Marianne and I are on the same page when it comes to small groups. So I want to share real quick about what Pastor Don and I and the leadership team have been talking about. That small group will still be in a Zoom, and I called it a Lutheran Zoom. And it would be on Sunday evenings in small groups hosted by either council members or anybody that would like to do it. And it would be a time of getting together, could be a book club, or it could be just a group of people getting together, caring and sharing. Remember, it's all about relationships and engagement and telling your story. And what would be really great, and I told Pastor Tim this, is that these Sunday night little meetings that we have on Zoom at 6 o'clock or 6:30 would turn into someday a third service on Sunday evenings. The other one that I want to take to the next level is with Bethany. And I shared this with our pastoral team. Bethany made a great comment about a quiet time in our sanctuary. Well, guess what, Bethany? We're already on the move with that. And it is called Quiet Wednesdays. And I shared it with Pastor Donna. And so we're going to start putting something together on that. The other one, as I brought up, is called Fire Pit Fridays, where maybe people gather around the fire pit somewhere and do some caring and sharing. So some of these things are in motion right now. But as I told Mary Ann, I'm calling you, Mary Ann, and you're going to help me get some ideas with that. And Bethany, I'll call you and you share some ideas like you have in the past on what you'd like to see a Quiet Wednesday. So really, there's part of your stewardship team right there thinking outside the box.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Appreciate that. Because we're going to kind of wrap this up at this point. Just a couple things to just kind of get us on. How many of you, let's get out of the, can we put this back on the gallery view so I can see everybody? Thank you.
Yeah,
how many of you raise your hand if you know what I mean when I say masquerade parade? Good. Good, then I don't need to say much about it. Can you pass the word to others about it and encourage people to come to the masquerade parade? Please do that, because I think that gives us an opportunity to do that 3D, but literally the 3 dimensions, because I think a lot of us are tired of the 2-dimension screens that we're looking at, and we could use that third dimension. So let's pass that word. The other thing is, how many of you raise your finger or hand or put a thumb up or react? How many of you have helped online worship in some fashion by reading or singing or whatever? Good. How many of you would like to do that? If you would like to do that, please let us know via an email and say, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to either read, or I'd like to help with the children's message, or whatever it might be, or I want to be your guest on a sermon sometime. Let us know. Would you do that? And again, pass the word.
The survey.
And there is a survey, and that survey, you want to say more about it? Since
Well, it's also kind of a way to collect up people's willingness to help with things. So Jack, has had it in the, I was just looking to see where it is on the website. He's had it in the e-news, a survey, but an email or a survey, whichever works better for you.
Let us know what role you want to play. We have online Zoom greeters, we have readers, we have people who sing, we have people who provide music. We can even use people who are interested in doing some of the background technology stuff. I mean, Elizabeth's not going to be around forever. I can tell you that right now. She's just not going to be. So let us know if you're interested, or if you know somebody or have maybe a family member who might be interested in that. One final thing. Would you put 1 or 2 words in the chat box right now about what you appreciated about being together this afternoon? Just 1 or 2 words in the chat box. Fellowship, connection, hearing ideas, chance to see everybody. It really is good to do that. Faces. We just don't get a chance to see faces. Some good conversation with people. The many ideas, the smiling faces, connections, relationships, all of those things are happening. Talking about our future. It really is great to see you all. I think that is probably the most important thing that we can take from this. So thank you all for sharing. In your rooms, if you'll place your hands so that you can touch somebody else's screen, whether it be up or down or any way that you choose to do that. And we're going to do a prayer blessing here. So again,
the one from the
do you see how we're kind of, and I know there's lots of smiles about this, but it's actually kind of cool to be able to touch the people who are below you or above you or whatever. And Pastor Donna's going to take a picture, so let us pray. In your face is the face of God. Go now and let it shine. In your hand is the hand of God. Go now and open it in sharing and in caring. In your heart is the heart of God. Let it break open in compassion. In your life is the life of God. Live it with joyful thanksgiving. Go in peace and let God's people say, unmuted, if you can do that really quickly. Thanks be to God.
Thanks to
Thanks
God.
be to God.
Thank you all for being here with us.
Everybody.
Great.
We'll have another
We'll do this in
gathering
September.
and we'll seek to grab more people and gather them with us.
So call other people to this place the next time we do it.
So
Take care.
Was somebody asking?
I was going to ask Greg, Lord, to call me about the Wednesday nights also.
You bet.
Okay. Thank you.
And remember next Sunday.
Yeah, masquerade parade 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Take care.
Thanks, Bethany. Thanks, Marianne.
Thanks, everybody.